So I believed in my heart. I accepted in my heart that I was
Evident.
gonna die in the ring, and also I was okay with it. And I mean, today to think today that shit it would have been such a waste to die in the ring. But in that time, that was probably the if I could choose a way to die, I would like to die in the ring. Yeah. So I always thought that if I die in the ring, it'd be a great day. Of course, I don't want to die. If I do, it's a good thing. That means I fought to the death, which is something that I wanted to.
Hello, listeners. My guest today is Edson Inoue, an American-born Japanese legend and perhaps Japan's first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a heavyweight Shooto fighting world champion, and a UFC and Pride veteran. He fought the best in his prime and submitted Randy Couture. Expect to learn about his unconventional thinking and unbelievable heart on the world's biggest stage. Yomoto Damashi, the philosophy of Japanese samurai spirit, that and how he was ready to die whenever he fought. His reputation for resolving conflicts with the Yakuza, his time in prison, and engaging in philanthropy, risking intense radiation poisoning to help during the Fukushima nuclear accident in 2011. A multi-talented individual who has forged his own unique path and lives his philosophy daily. We talk about all of this, as well as much, much more. This is Mastered. Please welcome Edson Inoue. So I want to start first with just like your family. So your mum and dad, did they immigrate to Hawaii in the 1800s, or were they coming like up post World War II?
Their grandparents moved to Hawaii. Yeah. So I would be like the fourth generation in Hawaii. So their parents were first generation, and their grandparents are the ones who moved from Japan during the war. Yeah.
Oh, so their grandparents moved during the war.
Their grandparents. So my great grandparents.
What was the decision to move to Hawaii, do you think?
I'm probably the war.
For the war, I guess.
Just the war. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of immigrants went to Brazil, California, and Hawaii. So that was the reason why they moved.
And like growing up, was there any like racism towards Japanese people, like post World War II, your family and parents and stuff like that?
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure because I think they were put in concentration camps.
Really?
So I had to go through all that. Yeah, with that whole generation, the second generation, first generation. Yeah, they were prejudiced again, of course.
And like, like Hawaii is like an island country, Japan as well. And even like the history of Polynesians, like from New Zealand, moving all the way around. And like my friend, he's like a PhD in like Taiwan's history because I was there recently. And he was telling me that like Polynesians are like the original people of Taiwan as well. Yeah. I just found out because people have like the islander tattoos and whatnot as well. And he was explaining to me, yeah, they're the original people of the land. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you more about that. Like you fought Mark Hunt as well.
No, Mark Kerr.
Mark Kerr, sorry. You fought Mark Kerr as well. But then there's a number of like different fighters from Hawaii, like BJ Penn, yourself, your brother, Max Holloway. What do you think it is about like Hawaii that has like that fighting spirit?
I don't know. I think Hawaii, we grew up fighting a lot on the streets. In this generation now, they have a lot of guns, but before in our generation, there was no gun. So there's a lot of fist fight.
So you think it's like the actual just the culture around fighting and everyone's kind of like...
Yeah, I think we're just scrappy people. Islanders are usually like...
Yeah, well, in Australia, that's the reputation. That's why I bring up Mark Hunt, you know what I mean?
So we get into street fights a lot. So I guess it's a little pride thing. We solve our problems with fights.
Yeah, gotcha. And I wanted to ask you more about like how you originally got into like fighting and the jiu-jitsu as well. I find that like quite interesting that you found that.
Well, the fighting, I didn't really plan to fight. I was training martial arts just to defend myself on the street. And that's where I went to the search of finding a lot of different martial arts. Tried karate, tried taekwondo, hapkido, Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do. I tried all those, yeah. And when it was good. I mean, you could take bits and parts of every art. But when I fall in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, it was like 90% of that can be used on the street. The other arts, you had to take 10%, 5%,
Yeah.
It was like, Jiu-Jitsu is like pretty much the art for street fighting.
Yeah.
That's when I got really hooked on Jiu-Jitsu.
And like at that time, what year was it when you actually started jiu-jitsu, do you think?
I don't know, 1980, ooh, 1987, I think maybe.
Wow, how did you first like hear about it all?
Oh, it
Right.
was a non-credit course in the University of Hawaii. It was a non-credit course in the University of Hawaii. So I was walking through the campus as a student. There was a Brazilian guy running a video called Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Action 1.
Oh, the original
Yeah.
tape. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched it, and I was watching all the street. And I used to get into a lot of street fights in Hawaii. When I watched the video, I was like, holy shit, I got to try this out. So I was in the midst of trying to find the art myself on the street. And when I saw the video, I was like, this, I got to try. So that's when I got started. It was actually a non-credit course in the University of Hawaii. So I actually took the course.
So you took a course on your first like jiu-jitsu class.
It was a university course.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And when did you first sort of like have like some sort of fight? Like I know about how you first saw, I think you saw Hickson fight in the Vale Tudo, right? And you're like, I want to do that once, at least once, right?
Yeah. When I saw it, I was on a journey to try and control my emotion. So I saw a movie once where a guy was driving his family. He got into a car accident. The car turned upside down, got into fire. And because he was panicking and couldn't control his emotions, he couldn't open the door. His family died. So I always thought that I should be on a quest to control my emotion. And sports is a good way to do it. And so, when I was a racquetball player, the consistency I had in practice wasn't the same when I had in the event. Because there's a nerves, there's a referee calling the score, there's the fans, So in racquetball, I don't think I ever got to a point where I could control it completely, but I got to a point where I was pretty much the same guy in the practice court and in the tournament. So I was pretty happy with that. When I was training jiu-jitsu, I got to know Rickson Gracie really well. And when I went to watch him fight in the Vale Tudo, Japan, I think it was 1994, I couldn't control my emotions watching a friend fight in the ring. Then, watching a sport, you get nervous watching a friend or watching Egan play racquetball on the court. But I guess because it's fighting when the guy's trying to hurt your friend, there's a lot more adrenaline.
Yeah.
So when he won the fight, I jumped up in the air and started screaming like without controlling my emotion. So that's when I said, oh, if I'm getting that excited watching a friend fight, to be in the ring would be another whole different level. And I wanted to just feel it. That's the reason why I'm on the quest to try and find an association to fight for. I just wanted to get in the ring once. And even if I wasn't able to master the control of those emotions, I got to try it once and I got to feel it once. Yeah. And that's all I wanted to do.
It's literally like why I started like martial arts the same sort of way, you know what I mean? I think like when I saw interviews of you like nearly like 10 years ago on Joe Rogan and whatnot, and I was like, oh wow, that's the exact reason why I wanted to get into fighting, just to do it once and know that I could like help prepare, and not even just the world of like fighting, like outside that, like you said with it, getting someone out of a car or like a dangerous situation happened, having that resilience to come through.
I mean, I didn't think one fight was going to give me that, but I felt to experience it once, I would probably be I'll be able to react better to it if when the time actually happens, rather than not having any type of experience. So I just felt that being in the ring is probably something that I need to do to be on the quest of controlling my.
Yeah. And when you went to like, you were trying to find like an organization to fight for, I think you're trying to call everyone up, and you got in contact with Shudo, right?
Yeah.
And Tiger Mask. And I think that would have been the first time you met Sensei Nakai. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. Well, what I did was I was calling all over, called Pancras Rings, UW. The only one that told me to come right down was Shuto. So I went down, the next day I went down the bullet train, went to see the gym. When I got here, Sayama Sensei was there, and he just said, oh, what do you do? I said, I do Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, so he said that he wants to see what I can do. And so he called over a little guy that was in the gym training, and that was Nakayuki. He told me can I spar with him? I said, oh, this small guy, he's a lot smaller than me. Okay, we can spar. So we sparred, and then
What year was this?
I think it was probably 1994, 1995.
Okay, so he hadn't had his like Vale Tudo.
No, it was before
Cisco.
Yeah.
Wow. And just a lot of leg locks on you and stuff like that? Yeah.
So yeah, that gave me a little problem. But as far as positioning, he didn't understand positioning. He didn't understand mount, passing the guard, anything. So the sparring went pretty easy. And I And I just kind of thought that, oh, why is he making me spar with this dude that's training? And I didn't know he was like a welterweight champ.
Yeah, he's a shooter welterweight champion. That's
It was just some
yeah.
guy training.
Yeah.
And when I sparred with him, wasn't impressed. So I just thought, oh. And when I sat down, I remember Sayama Sensei looking over at Nakai and saying, oh, we can use this guy. And I was like, oh, what does he mean by that? Sayama looked over at me and said, oh, I want you to make your pro debut. What did you make a pro debut in 3 months? And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Have you fought anywhere else?
No, I just street
It's the
fought.
first time.
Yeah. So he said, I was like,
Wow.
pro, I'm not a pro. So I'm like, I declined. I said, no, I'm not. He said, no, don't worry. So we'll train some tackles, get to the ground, and we'll change the rules to make it adapt to your fight. Because before Shooto, there was no face striking. You only could punch the body.
Yeah, it's still like that now, like with the shooter, right?
Amateur, yeah.
Yeah.
So pro Shooto was actually like amateur Shooto. Yeah. So he said that to adapt to your rules, we'll make a new rule called freestyle rule. Yeah. And before my fight, he tried it once with Nakai. Yeah. So he wanted Nakai to fight one of Foiler's students, Arthur Ketchum. Yeah. So I trained Nakai for that because it was jiu-jitsu. And that was the first time the Shooto, or even anywhere in Japan, was introduced to ground punching in the face. Yeah, Pancras only allowed slaps.
Yeah, I've seen all those fights, and yeah, it's just like arm strikes. Yeah.
So that Shooto was actually the pioneer of any type of Vale-Tudo fight.
Yeah, it's
that was Nakai Yuki against Arthur.
He is, yeah. And I was saying this to him in our interview, like Tiger Mask, and then Tiger Mask to Ioki as well. Like, people just, I don't know. It's just like unknown that people don't really see it. They think, oh, that UFC, that's how it all started. It's like, no, it isn't. Yeah. It's not really how it all started. Way before that. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, that's like part of the reason why I wanted to interview you, talk about this specifically, and like learning about this history. So, just for a moment, just we can expand on Sensei Nakai. So, how was it him training with yourself? Because I think he trained with you until purple belt. Is that right?
Yes. So yeah, he was at the gym that I was training at. The pure, it was the Shooto.
Okay. What was it like training with him and him being a student?
He already had ground from the Kosen Judo. So all he needed to do is refine different positioning, define different attacks. So there's a certain chokes that he was very susceptible to get into. So he had to learn to defend from that. Yeah, he was like I think when I first started training, he was already like a really good blue belt. Yeah.
And now he's like president of the JBJJF.
He's like the top guy.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
I just had a talk show yesterday about that.
Yeah, so yeah, like
they're talking to me about they're saying that, people don't know that I'm the one who brought jiu-jitsu to Japan. Yeah, and I'm the one who taught Nakai, which is the top guy now.
So you're really Japan's first Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, would you say?
Yeah.
You would. Yeah, that's what I would say as well.
Yeah. But I'm not Japanese, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't really claim that.
Oh, true. I never thought about that. Yeah. You're totally right.
I'm living in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. And I wanted to talk to you just quickly, just to finish up on Nakai and then move to yourself. But this picture here. So when I asked him about this, I got your shirt as well, the scramble shirt with the dog as well. Awesome picture. I asked Sensei Nakai about this picture. I'm like, what were you sort of feeling in this moment? He said that one of his judo members died. And he was also just feeling like, yeah, hell yeah, like I'm putting Japan on the map. And he said mainly it was about the Yamato Damashi, which is like your nickname and also like your philosophy and way of fighting. He said this is purely like what it's all about.
In that tournament, I think this is probably after he beat Pittman. Yeah, and he already got the fight before. I think he got his eye gouged out by Gerald Gordo. So I mean, already he was blind in one eye, and he was fighting this guy that was 3 times his weight. Yeah, and it was like, oh, he's done. So when he won that, I think it surprised everyone in the arena, possibly even himself.
And he went on to fight Hickson as well after that as well. You know what I mean?
Hickson after that. Yeah. So yeah, that guy is a total embodiment of Yamato Damashi. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And can you share your philosophy, Yamato Damashi as well?
So, the basic thing and the reason why I got the name, I think, was because it was the spirit of never giving up. But when I looked into the word and when I studied and heard more about the word, I understood more about it. There's 4 aspects of it. There's loyalty, integrity, honor, and compassion. Yeah. So it's a word. Pretty much it's a lifestyle. Yeah. And I was lucky to get named from one of the writers, and he brought it up to me. He said that when I see your fights or when I hear you talk, the word Yamato Damashi pops into my head. And at the time I didn't know it was defined to me as a samurai spirit. So, you see samurais as people that battle with sword. They'll fight to the death, So for me, it was, I had a misunderstanding that, they're talking about my toughness.
Yeah. Well, even like during like World War II, like some of my grandparents were like involved in that, and the Japanese definitely had a reputation, like last minute of everything, never give up. That was surprised.
Yeah. So I
totally
think,
surprised.
yeah. So for me, when I was named the word, it was like, okay, I'm representing Yamato Damashi. When I realized the
Strength of the word.
Yeah, it's something that I couldn't carry.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned into something that was leading me in my life. And I was on a quest to get as close to I can and to be a man of Yamato Damashi before I die.
And I know that before your fights, like you used to write letters to everyone. You're preparing to die in the ring. Like,
I already, in the 3 months of training, I convinced myself and accepted that today was the day I might die in the ring. Or that the next fight I have might be my last fight. So maybe even when someone would invite me to a party that was on the next day after the fight, I always, like, if they tell me if my fight's on the 15th, they say on the 17th, can you come to our party? I'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll be free. I'll be after my fight. And I'm thinking, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, if I'm alive, that'd be a great day. So if I'm going to that party, that means I made it through the fight. Yeah. So I believed in my heart. I accepted in my heart that I was going to die in the ring. And also, I was okay with it. And I mean, to think today that shit, it would have been such a waste to die in the ring. But in that time, it was probably if I could choose a way to die, I would like to die in the ring. Yeah. So I always thought that if I die in the ring, it'd be a great day. Of course, I don't want to die. If I do, it's a good thing. That means I fought to the death, which is something that I wanted to.
All right. So I guess we're talking about the philosophy of Yamato Damashi. And that I was saying that you were like, I think you were sharing about how like you'd have a party coming up and with your friends that you would like basically say, oh, if I see you at the party, I guess I'll be there,
Well, and back in my head, I was thinking that, like, if I'm at that party, that means I made it alive. And, it helped me train hard.
Yeah, I was going to say
because I knew that the harder I trained, the more chance of me making it alive to the fight. Mm-hmm. And I knew myself. I knew my personality that I wasn't going to quit. I was going to fight to the end. So even when, in my fight with Heath Hearing, when he popped my arm, of course, the arm was cracking all over the place. So I knew the arm was damaged real bad. But for me, a broken arm is nothing compared to death. Yeah. When you prepare to die, it's nothing. Yeah. So, like you hear about, like a big car accident, and you hear that the first thing in people's head is, oh, how many people died? Yeah. And then when you hear that, oh, no one died. And then although there are people that are critically injured, the people that are paralyzed, no one died. Oh, good thing. Yeah. Right. Death is like so dramatic. Everything besides death, people don't take it that seriously. Yeah. So for me, going into the ring, I'm preparing to die. And people say, oh, you never tap. You're so tough. You're so strong. It's not about that. I was already prepared to die. So when you're prepared to die, breaking an arm is nothing. Mm-hmm. I still got my other arm. I still got my other leg. It's almost like if you want to do it in terms of someone to understand, a regular person to understand. If you say, I give you $100 to live for the next week, and you're going to gamble away $99. Well, you're here thinking, okay, wait, I'm willing to lose $100. If you do lose $100, you got no food, no nothing for next week. Isn't that scary?
Yeah, it is.
But if you actually have, so if $100 is someone just trying to fight with no injury. If you're getting to injury, would be like spending your $100. But then on the injury at $100, death means $1,000. And so if you're spending 100, but you got 1,000 to gauge for the next week, it's nothing, right?
It's nothing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
So that's kind of the idea, yeah, that I've already prepared in my heart and in my mind and in my soul that I'm willing to die, and it's okay to die in the ring. And so when, my arm's cracking, anything happens like that, it's nothing. Yeah. So, I think that Yamamoto, it made me train hard. It made me train harder because the more I train, the more percentage of the chance that I'll be walking out.
Yeah. And even like your approach to the fights, like I've seen a couple of your fights where like even after the bell, you're still going. You're going, I'm going to,
Yeah.
it's kill or be killed. It's going to be killed all the way.
It's almost like you look at it like unsportsmanlike. And it's like, if someone tells me you're unsportsman, I'll say, yeah. Because it ain't a sport to me.
Yeah.
I'm going in there
Real.
thinking that this guy is another fighter trying to do a right punch or a high kick or something to submit me. No. I'm thinking of it as this guy's coming in to end my life.
Yeah.
And for me, because he's tapping or because the ref tries to stop me, sometimes it's hard to trigger that idea in my head and my whole body that stop, it's over. Because I see him alive. My job is to, if he's alive, he can still hurt me. Yeah. So for me, I was in such a mode that my goal was to end his life. Wasn't to beat him, was to end his life. And even if he's tapping, I feel like he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that's where when I wouldn't stop is because I had a hard time controlling it. That was part of my journey too, to control that emotion. Yeah. So when you see it, you think about it if you're in the ring and this guy across you has been training for 3 months to end your life. For me, I mean, even the way I went at people is because I was so scared
Yeah.
that I wanted to end his life before he ended mine.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's a whole different level and a whole different way of thinking that a lot of fighters, even in my day, had a hard time understanding. And especially today. You tell people that, if I tell the fans today that I was willing to die in the ring, they probably gawk at me. Die in the ring? You crazy? Like, you guys don't understand the depth of it. You don't understand my journey. You don't understand why I got into the ring. It wasn't to get a title. It wasn't to get rich. It wasn't to get famous. It was about testing myself and building my heart as a man and to become a better man and be able to control my emotions in the scariest situation. Yeah.
And like when you're like performing, do you feel like, I felt like that would like give you such an edge because it's like, I'm stopping no matter what. I'm not going to stop no matter what. I'm going to keep going, like a psychological edge as well. I know for the training, but also performing
in a way,
cage.
it could be a hindrance too, because sometimes I would go too much, get too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
So
gas out. Like,
yeah. So if you're in a sport, you can relax more. But when you're in there, going in there thinking that I got to kill this guy, he's trying to kill me. Yeah. That adrenaline and that anxiety is a lot higher.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with that too. Controlling that.
Okay. How did you help control that later on throughout your career? Well, I noticed like in your last fight, that was quite smooth. Like really, really smooth. Yeah. But you had some like wild fights too. Absolute wild fights. Like the one with Igor Pacheco. You had a war with Ken Shamrock as well.
Frank Shamrock. Yeah.
Frank Shamrock, sorry.
Yeah.
And you also submitted Randy Couture. So which fights do you feel like stand out the most, you're most proud of, and like the one that you kind of learned from lessons from to help you?
Career-wise, Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Because that solidified the fact that I am one of the top fighters in the world. For myself, as far as knowing what I am as a man, is Igor. Because I knew that, I was hurt so bad that I had broken finger, broken jaw, perforated eardrum, swollen brain, and my liver count was 2,000 times a normal man. And when the liver shuts down, you could die. Yeah, so I was at the verge of that. So, and the fact that I got beaten up that bad, but not once in my mind did I think of giving up. All I could think of is I got to make it to the second round when I got a big cut on him and we threw down again. I got cut. Yeah. So that was a real big victory for me and as a man. And for me, the big fight too also was Frank Shamrock, because it taught me that throwing down with someone isn't that bad. Yeah. So for me, I was more of a ground fighter. Up until the Frank Shamrock fight, I was real timid and scared about the standing. I would want to, like Igor Genoviev, I would get close and take down. My first fight against Shigeru Shingo, I would get close and wait. Everything was about taking down.
But it's a Gracie system, right?
Yeah,
that's what you learned originally.
To be smart, my ground was my strength, my forte. So of course, why stand? But maybe the Frank Shamrock fight was actually not good for me too, because I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. It was just such a. As a man, there's this standing in the fire, and knowing that one punch could register unconscious, and who's going to hit who first. That fear, anxiety, and that adrenaline was very addicting for me. I loved that. Even with Mark Kerr, I wanted to do that, but he was smart and went for takedown. So as far as someone as big as and scary looking as Mark Kerr, I thought, wouldn't that be awesome to throw down with someone like that?
Yeah. What was your decision to fight the style with Igor Vichenko? His style was it from the previous bouts, or we just this guy's big scary dude?
The reason why I said I wanted to fight Igor was because I saw him fight Francisco Bueno in one of the prizes before that, and when he hit Francisco with one punch, and his eyes rolled back, and as Francisco fell down, he hit him with a couple more punches. And I was there. I was there on the third roll. And what made it more dramatic was Francisco Bueno's girlfriend was sitting 3 seats over from me, and she started screaming bloody murder because he fell flat on his face and he wasn't moving. And they turned him over and he wasn't moving for a while. I don't know what pride that was. Try Google Francisco Bueno and Igor Vichenko. Yeah, the crowd was silent and everyone thought he died. And right there for me, it was weird because most people were like, "Oh, that's scary." For me, yes, I felt that it was scary, but for some reason, it felt like I want to be at the end of that. I want to feel that fear and see what I would do as a man. And I wasn't confident I would be able to throw toe to toe with him. I wanted to put myself in that situation where I would break. Because if I broke, then I had something to learn and something to grow on. So right there, that's when I called Pride the next day and said, I want to fight Igor.
You called him and asked that fight?
Yeah, I asked for Igor. Yeah, so that fight was something that I felt that it wasn't about winning. It was about challenging myself.
Yeah.
And if you're going to fight someone like Igor, it's not fighting to take him to the ground. His scary part is his Russian hook, his punches. So for me, it was standing toe to toe with Igor. Yeah, so that was my plan from the beginning.
That was the plan
from
the beginning.
My training partners, I told my senseis, and they all were not very up for it. But I said, yeah, he's not going to expect it. 2 is we'll throw it out, see who hits who first. Yeah, and so with that fight, what I did is I tried to fake a takedown. Of course, because I was so anxious about it, that the fake was real small.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a full fake takedown, come up but I guess the fake was enough because I caught it with that right.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And then what's funny is I called it. I said there's in your life you have Yamato Damashi moments, and a Yamato Damashi moment is not the same for everybody. Like something that gives you fear does not give me fear. Yeah. Something that gives me fear might not give you fear. So if you don't feel that fear and you don't have that feeling of wanting to not do it or quit, then it's not going to be a Yamato Damashi moment. So what you see the fight, what was good with that was it became a moment for me because after that first punch, although I planned to throw down, you notice I grabbed him.
Yeah.
And he spun around trying to get me off of him for 3 seconds, which felt like 13 seconds to me. And in that time, it was that there was a battle in my head. Like, what are you doing? I was fighting that fear. Like, fuck, I don't want to throw down with this guy, but I do want to throw down with this guy. And if you notice in that 1, 2, or 3 seconds I finally broke away and we started throwing down. Yeah. So that,
Yeah, that fight with yourself
Yeah.
in your head.
Oh, yeah,
You're
so-
thinking all those things.
there was a huge turning point for me as a man. In those 3 seconds, when you see that clip of me grabbing him, and that's 2 seconds or 3 seconds that we spin around before I let go and slow down, that's a turning point in my life. People don't realize that small portion of that video was creating who I am. Yeah, so that fight was the best for me. It Even when we went to the ground, he was hitting me when some shots that, yeah, I swear I might have went out 2 or 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, because it wasn't like, it didn't hurt. Like Mark Kerr's punches hurt on the outside. His one felt like it was going through my head. It was like boom, like whoa. So if you notice, a lot of times in the fight, I would look over at my corner and say, they never asked me if I'm okay, but I was fucking with Igor's mind. Because if he hit me, every punch hit me with a solid shot that I might actually went out. I looked over at Egan and said, I'm okay. And that would have been shitty for a hit you with his best punch, and this guy look you and telling his corner is okay, and then hitting back. So Igor was a huge fight for me. I think if I had to pick one, it would be.
It's so interesting though that and you're so right. Like it's those little pivotal moments, like as being a man or going through life that, yeah, you're gonna are you gonna step up to it or find a way to overcome it, or what are you gonna do? So it's really interesting that you take it away.
I believe that not every test you're gonna pass, but the more tests you can go through, the better prepared you will be. When that time comes where that test might come down to you dying or your family dying. And I believe that the more tests that we can put ourselves in, the better prepared we will be when that day comes. Yeah, and I want to be prepared.
What do you think about average man these days? They're not going through these trials and tribulations. They're not testing themselves this way. I know that for me, you're an inspiration for me, and I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a professional fighter, but wanting to get in there and to do that, to prove that you can help improve your life. What do you think about the average man these days not really being as interested in that, and how that spirit can be helpful for?
What I see as an average person is, the people are getting weaker because they're getting more comfortable with everything. As we know, putting ourselves into uncomfortable situations is building yourself. Even sitting in a room when it's hot. People before didn't have aircon, and now all we do is turn on air conditioning and we're cool. We're cold. We turn on the heater. We're hot. So that's one thing. That just society. You can sit at home and pretty much do anything on the computer now. Yeah. You need to go to the shop. You can order something from Amazon. So it makes people a lot more privileged and a lot weaker. Yeah. And as far as the fighting, I think it's a good example for that is, you don't see fighters that are willing to die in the ring anymore. And it's not because the fighters are bad. It's they're adapting to the situation. When I fought, there was no money. There was no fame. There was nothing in fighting. We fought because we wanted to challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
And, right now the fighters, they fight, for money. They can make a living for it now. They fight for sponsorship. They fight for title, fight for being famous, And those things are so appealing. Fight and you can fight. Take one fight, you can buy a house. Take one fight, take 5 fights in a row, and then you can feed your family and take care of your children. You can fight and then get famous, get sponsorships, get commercials, get free cars, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's super appealing. So what human being would not fight for that? For me, I can't say that I'm a better person than the fighters today, because if I grew up in this generation, I'd probably be fighting like that too. For me, to give up in my heart and to tap out, although even if I break my arm and my arm can't be used normally after that, I'm okay, because my pride in my heart is strong. I value that way more than my body. My body's going to crumble and disappear. My soul will continue on. Yeah. But when you're talking about these fighters, they got to fight another fight to make money and get famous. They're going to tap because they don't want to hurt their arm too bad, because they're going to have to train on it.
And they want to make more money, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. For us, there was no...
There is none of that.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the reason why the fighters are probably getting a little not so ready to die type of style is to generate the movement of life, the movement of the world. things are just getting so much better. Yeah. So, I mean, it disappoints me to see that there's there's very well, Justin Gaethje's one that's like straight up like a dog.
Yes, yes.
He could grow up in our day. So, as much as I'm sad that there's not so much fighters like that, I am happy that fighting is so famous and so big now.
Yeah, it's huge.
So it's almost like being a little bit of a hypocrite
Yeah.
because I'm like bummed that there's no martial art anymore. There's more sport.
Yeah.
The shit talking, try to get your name up like being a villain, that kind of stuff. It's a bummer, but because of that,
It's huge.
it's huge.
It's gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if I had to pick one or the other, I'm kind of happy how big MMA
Yeah.
is. I go to Vegas, and before I used to see like Ray Charles, Lionel Richie, and now you see the freaking fighters on like big billboards. It's like unbelievable. Like I remember a long time ago when I went, it was Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. I know both of them as personal friends. I'm like, holy shit, my friends are on the billboard. It's like before I used to see Lionel Richie, I've never met Richie. I mean, he's like a superstar,
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, Tito, Chuck, holy shit, So for me, it's like, I mean, even right now, it's on ESPN. It's like ESPN fighting would never be on ESPN. It's like, wow, it's on ESPN. Yeah. It's just, it's a hypocritical feeling.
Yeah.
I'm bummed that there's no samurai or Bushido in the aspect of fighting anymore. But I'm super stoked as how big it is.
And in saying that, like, you fought at a time where like fighting was still like no Vale Tudo, no
It
rule
was
fighting.
like illegal in half
Yeah,
the United
illegal, right?
States.
Yeah.
Like we had to, when I fought in UFC 13, we went to Augusta, Georgia because that was one of the few places that it was okay. I think it might have been an Indian reservation.
Well, they didn't need casinos, just turn up
And that was
throw it out.
because once we flew into the airport, I think we drove 3 hours to Augusta, Georgia, to where we had to fight. Yeah.
What was the public perception in Japan of fighting that time? I know like Pride was gigantic, but was the public more receptive? They're still like, oh, you're a fighter, like you're doing this dangerous, barbaric thing.
Well, yeah, when I was fighting, no one knew MMA. It was K1. So it was like, if they ask you say you're a fighter, they say, oh, K1. Like, oh, no. We do grounds fighting too. They go, oh, pro wrestling. Like, oh, no. It's real. Like, oh, pro wrestling's real. Like, no, it's not real. No one knew what it was.
Yeah.
And today you can tell this old lady, MMA fighter, oh, MMA, they know what it is. Isn't that unreal? So for me, there's a bigger picture to myself. People say, oh, Ensign, if you're fighting today, you get all the fight of the nights and everything. And it's like, yeah, maybe I might, but maybe not, because my fight probably be stopped before I could show my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So I'm really happy. Although I didn't make a fortune where I bought a house and I'm sitting proud with all my money, I'm glad I grew up in my day.
But you fought Couture at like when he was a UFC heavyweight champion, and he was undefeated, and yeah, like you should have got like a belt or something like that. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't about that. Yeah. So I mean, growing up being a fighter in my day and age and my generation I think I gained a lot more than finances can ever buy.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about as well, like in Australia, like just going back to like MMA being considered barbaric, like Alexander Volkanovski, right? He's from like a small town in Australia, #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, current champion around the world. And he walks down the street, Australia, no one really knows who he is.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, no one knows. And the local mayor were talking about giving him like the key to the city, and he's like, I would never give him the key to the city. He's a barbarian. He's fighting people, and like it's a violent sport, and we want to promote that.
It's so funny
It's
because
just wild, like in this day and age.
it's funny because it almost feels like New Zealand and Australia. I mean, I hate to put you guys together, but
Pretty close.
New Zealand and Australia, for some reason, the people in the government or whatever, they're about 30 years back. Because I got that in our day, and like, oh, you're a fighter, like, oh, it was like you're violent, oh, human cockfighting, In my day, it was like that. But as the times change, America's accepted it as a sport. And like 10 years ago, when I went to New Zealand, I got stopped at immigration. They questioned me, asked me what I do. And I said, oh, I'm an MMA fighter. He was like, oh, so you beat up people for a living. Like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to get in the country. I thought I wasn't going to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, holy shit, I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, that's something I would have heard 20 years ago in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was crazy, man. Like Japan is a little different. They're kind of acceptable. They're a samurai generation.
Yeah. I notice I walk around the streets. So the first time I came to Tokyo in Japan was 3 years ago. Like karate signs everywhere. There's boxing gyms, judo gyms.
Oh, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. It's amazing, you know what I mean? So that's the thing I appreciated most. I'm like, oh wow, I really feel like I'm in a fighting country, a country you can train and move around, you know? Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about like some more difficult points in your life, if you don't mind sharing. About the time when I know you didn't drink or do drugs during your fighting career because you want to be the best, right?
Yeah.
And then after your career, you found like marijuana helped you relax and sleep and whatnot, right? And that led to like an issue where you got arrested. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, because I know that you're in jail for a bit of time as well during that period. How did fighting and everything you're going through help you prepare for that moment? And I know you're like keeping a diary and stuff like that. How did the experiences in your life help you prepare you for that moment? And how were you feeling like potentially being deported?
I almost feel like the prison sentence there's no comparison to fighting. It's a whole different realm of living. Yeah. So the fighting, I don't know. I don't know if I can't really think of how it actually helped, but I had to change my thinking.
Yeah.
So one of the big things I learned from that was freedom is something you need to appreciate. That people are born with freedom, especially if you're not born in a communist country, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, America, you're born with freedom, and people take it for granted. But when you get it all taken away from you in an instant, and you're being told what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat, when you shower, when you wash your clothes, when you can write things down, when you can't, when you brush your teeth, it's overwhelming, and you realize how, beautiful your freedom is. You can't even see the sky. You don't see the sky. The only time you can see the sky is when you have this exercise time and you go into this little room that has a little window, you can see the sky. Yeah. And it's like, you realize, there are a lot of things in life that are unreal that you take for granted. Another thing that it was good was I learned that when you're in a situation, like when I was in prison, I kept thinking about what I had. And then when I came Friday night, I was saying, shit, I'll be going to the clubs with my friend. And it made me sad, missing that. And I'm in prison. I'm going to sleep at 9 o'clock, turning out the lights at 9 o'clock. I'm thinking, shit, 9 o'clock, I'm just getting ready to go out to train. And coming back after 9, getting ready to go out to the clubs. And I can't do that now. I'm staying in the freaking prison, laying down with 5 other guys in my cell sleeping.
That's 5 in your cell?
Yeah. And I'm like, I had to change that. I had to change my thinking. And I had to change where inside and outside. And outside's gone. I had to admit that it's gone. And when I did, I actually found stuff that were actually fun in prison. Yeah, I joked around in prison there because, I learned, I just forgot everything outside. Yeah. And you can find good things in prison. The best thing in prison is as good as the shittiest thing outside in freedom. So if you keep comparing it to that, nothing's good.
Do you think that helped you fight?
No, that helped me as a person.
Yeah.
That helped me as a person.
Yeah.
So, as much as fighting taught me discipline and, fighting pain and how to overcome adverse situations, this prison sentence just helped me even more. And so what happened was, I don't know if I can say prison helped me with fighting or fighting helped me with prison, but they both helped me as a man. I took both from the best from each one that I learned, and I use it as becoming a better person, a stronger person.
And I wanted to ask you more about have to bring up Kid Yamamoto, absolute legend, and it's just a real shame he's just not known. Like I talk about this fighter with my friends, they're like, who's that? I never heard of him. Like he knocked out Police Gracie, he beat Honey Yaya, like back when he was a monster as well. Like, yeah, it's just totally unknown. I wanted to ask you how you guys came to know each other and your influence in his career.
Oh, dating his sister. And I got to know him as, my brother-in-law. And the reason why he came to fighting was because he had a big Yakuza problem that I helped him through. And because he had the Yakuza problem, the Japanese community shy away from Yakuza. So because he had that problem, the college that he was at kicked him out because they didn't want problems with the Yakuza. The wrestling association put him on probation because they didn't want problems with the Yakuza. And he had nothing to do. He was one of the top wrestlers in Japan.
I think his parents are wrestlers too, right?
Yeah, his father went to the Olympic. His mom was like a wrestler and a referee. And his two sisters are world champions, Seiko and Miyu. So he, 1 year he couldn't do anything. So I figured, MMA is like wrestling, the same movement. I said, why don't you come try this out? And he did, and he fell in love with it.
Wow.
That's how he started training. And then a year later, when his probation ended, his dad wanted him to come back. He didn't want him. He wanted to continue fighting. So dad actually disowned him. The dad disowned him. Where I had to take care of him. He was sitting in his apartment one day, an apartment that I paid for him. He was sitting in there with no lights, with a candle. No car. So I had to give him a car. I paid his electricity. Yeah, so the dad, the dad was, unfortunately, the dad is someone, many people in this world they are overcome by fame and money. And the dad loved money more than he loved his family. Yeah, so he, the dad, when he wouldn't go back to, because the Olympics was coming up, he wanted kid to return to to wrestling.
The wrestling only.
Yeah, and then when he didn't want it, he disowned him. So I took care of kid for the next 2 years, and when he became famous, the dad came back in the picture. When money was involved, the dad came back. And that's where me and kid kind of pulled apart, because I couldn't work with the dad, because when I got the K1 contract, after you make a contract when you're not famous. And he was getting a contract of $50,000 per fight, which is pretty good for a guy that's not famous, who was fighting Shuto for $3,000 a fight. And he's get to go in the K1 ring. He fights and he wins. I make sure the rules allow him to win. He fights 1 round kickboxing, 1 round MMA, and all the kickboxers get scum in the MMA rules because they don't know ground. I pick those fights. He fights. He wins. When he becomes a huge star in K1, the money's different. So dad comes out and he wants to do the thing that is the exact thing someone that's greedy would do. Is he's not getting paid enough for his fame. But I'm like, we made the 2-year contract when he wasn't famous. And if he lost all his fights and wasn't famous, I would make K1 honor the $50,000 a fight no matter what, even if he wasn't famous. So on that hand, if you became famous, you honor the 2 years. It's integrity. You honor the 2 years and you fight for the 50,000. Of course, maybe you could get 100, maybe you get 200,000. But no, you fight for the agreement, and then you renegotiate after the 2 years. The dad didn't want to do that. The dad wanted to back out on the deal. The dad wanted to break the contract, and I disagreed. I have a relationship with all the associations because I don't backstab anybody. So I refused. I told the dad no. I said, don't touch that. And the dad refused. The dad kept interfering, and to a point where the association didn't want to take them to court because he was such a big star. And they asked me, what can we do? And I just stepped back. So I told kid, I can't work with your dad. You choose. And he chose his dad. And that's when I stepped back. But after that, kid started going down.
I was going to say, he's the tail end of his career. And unfortunately, his death.
He needed someone behind him that could keep him, keep him on the right road.
Yeah.
He had all yes men around there. Yeah. I saw the deterioration. Yeah.
That's a shame because, when he got to the big stage, his career was kind of dwindling at the end. And no one really got to see it. That's what I'm saying.
I think he was sick for a long time too.
Yeah.
I could see. I didn't realize at the time, but after we found out he died from cancer, I looked back and thought back in some of the times that I noticed he was losing weight. Yeah, I noticed he was walking. I wonder why he never fought in the UFC Japan. When they came to Japan, how come he never fought? And he looked like he's losing weight. I thought, maybe he's just going down a weight class. Or stop with lifting weights. I don't know. Yeah. But now, hindsight, he probably was sick longer than we thought.
I'll ask you as well. I know that you were a mediator for Yakuza disputes. How did you get into that? And can you share any significant stories, anything that kind of happened?
Well, I think the reason why I was able to mediate was because I got 2 things that are real important. I had respect from them, and I had fear. Yeah. So fear alone wouldn't do it. If they're scared of me, even more so, I think if they had a problem with me, they would just bring more people to kill me. Yeah. Or do it in a more drastic way. Run me over with a car. Yeah. So fear alone, respect alone will do it. I respect you until you piss me off. Yeah. But for some reason, the combination of fear and respect is magic. So I had that with I have that with the gangster community, the black community here. We call black, white and black is good and bad,
Okay.
the gray, also gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get a lot of respect from them. So I know a lot of people, and whenever two groups had problems, the coincidental thing is, well, of course, I didn't solve every single problem because I didn't know some of the groups. But a lot of times when I was a mediator was when this group I knew had a problem with this group, and they came and told me. I said, "Oh shit, I know them. Let me talk to them." And we had a lot of situations where we sat both of them in a room, and I heard this side, I heard that side, and I came to a mediation. Like, you know what? You're wrong. You should pay them that. And there was never a dispute on that. And there was one situation where there's two brothers that got into a big argument, and it was about 200,000. And I went and mediated that, and I realized that the younger brother was wrong, and he should pay the money that he owed the guy. So he paid his older brother, paid him the money. It was funny because that situation was really interesting because I mediated. I was close to both sides. I mediated. They're both considered like family. And that guy that I mediated for, he only pretended to be honorable or loyal to me because he wanted me to help him mediate. Yeah. So the first sign I had was after he did that, I saw him wearing, like, him and his girlfriend had new Rolexes. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I took no money from it because usually if I mediate, it's half of what they get. He got $200,000 from it. And if I mediate, I usually get 100,000. But because I consider him family, which he pretended to be, I backed off on. He put the Yamada Damashi crest on his arm, the tattoo. Yeah. So he was showing me that he's the family. And he called me boss, everything. And what I found out through the grapevine is he took off the tattoo after the mediation. He covered it with something else. So I heard that, like, I didn't really jump on it. And like 6 months later, I decided to try to take a look at it. So I called him into my gym. He came to my gym and I talked to him. I said, how you doing? Everything good? He opened up a yakiniku restaurant. Come eat anytime. Okay, cool. I said, can you take off your shirt? And he was like, huh? I said, can you take off your shirt? He looked at me like, oh, why? I said, just take off your shirt. He took off his shirt and fuck, it was weird because I saw he took his arm it was like a raw body just over the whole thing. And it's just something, and I just got so mad. I felt like he stabbed my whole family.
Yeah.
So I looked at him, I said, you know what? I said, you just dishonored the family. I said, I made a mistake. I'm trusting you. I dishonored the family too. I said, let's go to it was 8th floor building. So let's go to the 8th floor. Let's jump off the building. And he freaked out. So I think he saw it in my eyes that I was actually meaning it. I said, let's you and me, let's go, jump the building. He looked at me, he refused, started crying. And so I told him, you know what? You weren't family. You pretended to be family. I said, you got to give me half of what you got. That's $100. Oh, wow. And he said, yeah, well, how can I pay you? I said, you pay me right now.
Yeah.
And he goes, how am I going to get them? I said, that's not my problem. It's your problem. I said, if you cannot pay it, you work for me. And he goes, what do I do for work? I said, you sparring partner. And I backhanded him in the face.
Holy shit.
I backhanded him in the face and I said, that's 500 yen out of 100, 1 million yen. Yeah, 100, 1000 yen. So, yeah. So I whacked him. I said, and he was like, I think it's 10 million yen. Yeah. And I said, that's 500 yen. I said, you got to spar me. He starts crying, starts begging me. And it was funny because this Yakuza guy, this rich sponsor, this guy Nakabo, who owned the wedding company, he's the one who introduced me to him. So I called him over, sat him down. I said, this is what happened. He owes me 100,000. And if he can't pay it, he works for me. And the guy looks at me and goes, oh, Edson, can we figure something out? And right there, I fucking whacked him in the face again. And I said, we just brought down 1,000 yen from the 10 million yen that he owes me. And the guy Nakabo is like a straight up citizen. And he's like, fuck, Ensign Wade, can we do this non-violently? I said, 100,000? Yeah. And he looks at me, he goes, Ensign, is there a way we can negotiate the price? And I said, I was close to the guy Nakabo. So I said, Nakabo, I trust you. What do you think is fair? He said, 50,000. I said, okay, 50,000. I'll go down 50 grand. Just give me right now. He goes, can we make payments? I said, no. And the rule in the mediation like that, or if you negotiate a settlement, you get it that day. Because then they start talking to people to talk to us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All of a sudden, they agreed on something. All of a sudden, no.
It's all different.
Yeah. So it has to be done then. So I said, no, it has to be done right today. It can't be done any other day. So they looked at me and they said, oh, can we, how much time we have? I said, 20 minutes. I said, come back in 20 minutes. So they went out and they came back, man. Came back with 50 grand cash.
Shit.
20 minutes. And it was good because I got to stay in close with Nakabo yet. And I found out that he was fake, the other guy, and got rid of him.
Was the other guy still your friend after all that?
No.
Not the guy that gave you the money, the other one. The other one.
The guy who raced the tattoo?
Yeah.
Well, I considered him a disloyal person. So I just took advantage of his yakiniku shop and always ate free meat. Yeah. I didn't, it wasn't a friend but anymore. Someone who gave me free meat. Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you in this same topic about the Vice. Remember the Vice documentary you did? Like, was it like 10 years ago?
Longer. Has it been that long?
It might have been.
Might have been, yeah. Pretty long ago, yeah.
I remember watching that at the
Vice
time.
Black Market.
Yeah, I remember Vice was just like this site, all this really cool stuff. Now it's nowhere it really used to be, you know what I mean? But you were like the man on that. I used to love watching that. And there was one thing you did where you like went to like an underground street fighting thing. Was that like
that's
Yakuza?
Kitakyushu. So I have a family called the Yamato Damashi Ichizoku, which is Yamato Damashi family. And I have factions. I have people in Osaka, people in Sapporo, people in Kitakyushu. So those guys, that group was a group that they call me boss. So they're like my brothers. So Vice came to me and wanted to cover the black market in Kitakyushu. So I contacted them and said, yeah, if a boss is involved, we'll do it. So that's how we did that. Yeah. So we went there and, that we met the group, like said in the documentary is it started off with 3-4 guys and then it's built, I guess, as you get older, people get older too and more following. So they got over 100 guys now. Yeah. So that they just wanted to know about the group. So Vice actually did a lot. They did one, they went to a soap land, did some prostitution videos. Yeah. So, but there was really they cut a lot of it. It was more because I think the gangster thing was so big.
Okay.
They just focused on the street fights, how they fought for clout.
Yeah. Did anyone from those circles ever make it into like a higher level in like the shooter scene or like?
There's one guy from there that's actually won the amateur shooter last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're fighting, but they're more street fighters.
Okay. But I saw I think one of them had never had a fight or something in the documentary, and the fight was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A guy who lost his teeth. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So. Yeah, they had it at a place where the cops couldn't go as private land. Yeah, so they used their headlights for the
I remember.
Lights and the car horn for the bell. Yeah. So classic. Yeah, those guys are good guys. I still see them till today.
Any of that still today? Anyone?
Yeah, it just so happened that it wasn't actually going to happen that time, but they put it together for Vice.
For Vice, yeah.
And that guy Kita actually just didn't come out of prison, so he wanted to get involved.
Yeah. That's wild. Fighting now, so we got the Mark Zuckerberg, what do you call it? Elon Musk thing that's going to go on. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think the fight, I'm interested to see it, even though I don't think it's going to be very interesting to watch, as an actual event. But it just seems like BJJ, and you're a BJJ pioneer and legend, and MMA legend as well. It's just exploding in popularity. Everyone knows what it is now. Did you think that at the time, this?
Racquetball is still a small sport. Still not in the Olympics. I thought it was going to be something like that. When we were playing racquetball, They were saying, okay, we need 52 countries to be in the sport and it'll be an exhibition sport in the Olympics. Maybe next Olympics. Maybe next Olympics. Until today, it's still not in the Olympics. And I felt that, you know, every time I went to talk to people and say, what do you do? I said, play racquetball. I said, oh, squash. No, not squash, racquetball. I'm a fighter. I'm an MMA fighter. Oh, K1. Like, no, not K1, you know. So I got the same feedback from it. So I always felt that jiu-jitsu, MMA was going to be like that forever.
You just thought it's going to be this fringe thing.
It's going to be like racquetball. Like today, the racquetball players are still hoping it'll be an exhibition sport next year in the Olympics. Next Olympics, you know. So it's a big surprise. I mean, you know, who you got to credit for that? Dana White, man. Dana White gets a lot of shit about him not being fair and shit. But you know what? If it wasn't for Dana White, MMA wouldn't be what it is today. 100%. 100%.
There's no way.
He stood up for the Ferretti brothers wanted to close down the UFC. They were losing money. They were losing money with all their casinos because of the UFC. And Dana begged them for more time. And that's when they had the TUF, and that's when it took off. Yeah, if it wasn't for Dana White, UFC wouldn't be what it is today. MMA wouldn't be what it is today. So they can complain all they want, but they got to look back and understand that if it wasn't for Dana, these fighters wouldn't be making anything.
Yeah, there'd be nothing.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing at all.
Yeah, I feel that way. I feel strongly about it.
Yeah, I agree. And what do you think about the current crop of like Japanese fighters coming into like the scene at the moment? Like we were talking before the interview, like Rinya Nakamura, Tatsuro Taira. There's like a number of fighters that could be world champions. Like, what do you think about the current Japanese MMA scene?
Well, what's happening is they're starting to train abroad a lot. Like Lina just went to American Top Team.
Yeah, I saw he's at American Top Team.
So that's what they need.
Yeah.
They're not going to get enough technology, training ways. You know, like the UFC Institute has so much stuff. When Tsuyoshi goes to train at the Extreme Couture, I think Manuel Cape, he brings them into the UFC PI.
He was K1, right? He was on K1.
No, he was in
Rising, right? Sorry, yeah. But now he's in UFC.
So he brings them with all that. You know, the Japanese fighters just training here is not enough. I would recommend my fighters to go.
A couple of fighters that are like known as a little bit controversial as well, like Shinya Uki when he did the hammerlock and he broke that guy's arm. There was like a lot of controversy around that. Kinya Momoto had some controversy as well, like with referees. Yourself, like after the fight finished. What do you think about that? Like, I feel like in those, I'm not a professional fighter, but it feels like in those moments, like this being so into the fight that things like this are going to happen, you know, and the controversy around that. I want to know your thoughts about this.
Aoki did that. I didn't think anything of it. I just felt like, he must have an internal beef with that guy.
Yeah.
There must be something that was said.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, Shinya won't do that to everybody. And it was a real dick move, but maybe it was a dick move that was deserved. Yeah, so I don't know. I like the guy he fought. I was kind of surprised what he did, but I don't know what happened in the backstory. Like Joe Estes, you know, when I wouldn't stop fighting Joe Estes. I mean, a lot of people don't know the backstory on that because when we asked him to fight, I was actually supposed to fight in Pride 1. And at the time I was fighting in Shooto for $3,000 a fight. And I got offered 10 grand to fight in Pride. I was like, holy shit, $10,000 to fight. So I was supposed to fight in Pride. What Shooto told me was, if you decline Pride, we'll make a title match for you. We're fighting Joe Estes. I was okay. I'll pass it up for a title shot. To become like the first champion is a big thing.
Heavyweight shooter champion.
First and only now.
Yeah, only one, right?
First heavyweight champion is good. It's a good in the history books. Yeah. So okay, I'll give that up. Then like a month before the fight, Shooto calls me and tells me they can't get Joe Estes. I was like, why? He said, well, he says he beat you before, so he needs to get paid better. He did beat me in the first fight, yeah. This is the second fight, fight for the title. And he goes, he beat me before, so he needs to get paid more. And Shooto couldn't afford what he was asking for. So I told Shooto, you know, get him there. If you got to take out from my fight money, take out what you guys need. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Wow.
So for me, I was, you know, he's talking a big story on how much better he is for me. I mean, with the anxiety of kill or be killed, I remember getting the mount on him, and I remember hitting him with a couple good shots. I remember him tapping, thinking, no, you talk such a big story, put out more. This isn't it. You can't tap.
Yeah.
And I feel like I gotta hit you one more time. You know? So that's what, you know, for everyone that doesn't know the backstory, think, well, what a dick move. He's tapping. What are you doing? people don't understand that I'm fighting, thinking that this guy's going to kill me. There's a mixed emotion of happiness and anxiety that I didn't die. And that's getting me more excited, you know? So people don't understand that. They see just what's happening in the ring and make judgments. So, you know, like Aoki or any of these fighters that do these things, I don't judge until I hear what's happening. And for me, the first thing, if someone asks me, "Oh, you think that was a dick move?" Looked like a dick move, but I wonder why he did that.
There's a reason.
Yeah. And I find out why, and then I make an assessment. Yeah. Even though, yeah, the Yakuza problems, they tell me their side, and I ask them why, and sometimes this doesn't match. So my whole trick is to trick them and meet up with these guys and tell these guys that I want to meet up with them and bring them into one. And face to face.
One to the other one, and then the other one.
Okay, well, you said this, he said that. Boom. Solve it right away. Yeah. So, you know, for me, that's the thing is you don't pass judgment on people unless you know the full story. Yeah. You can make I'll pass judgment. I pass judgment a lot, but only to my wife. I'll tell her, that guy's a fucking dick. And we slap ourselves in the face. Holy shit, we feel like idiots now. We didn't know that happened, you know? But we don't go public on it.
That's fascinating. It's so true, though. Like, when someone does something, you just immediately react to it, but then you don't really ever know what the real thing is, do you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And sometimes you will never get the full story.
Yeah, you won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. Can you recall, like, I know we talked about the Igor Vichenko fight and that few moments that changed for you, but everything for you. Was there anything else that kind of stands out in your career that you had to like overcome, or self-doubt going into a fight, or a moment that helped you overcome?
I think Heath Hearing too, yeah. When he was breaking my arm, it was popping, and he was telling the ref to stop the fight. And I was telling the ref, no, I'm okay. So for me, it was just a confirmation that I've overcoming fear. And, you know, a lot of fighters like to say they don't fear any fear, but I think fear is a human emotion. Happiness is a human emotion. Taking a shit is a human movement. If you say you never feel fear, that means it's almost like saying I never take a shit. It's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, the level could be high. I think what's important for a person is what to do after they feel fear. It's not, I mean, the toughness is what you do with fear. It's not feeling fear or not feeling fear. It's given you feel fear. Yeah. I probably went off on a tangent on that question, but
no. It's great. It's great. It leads into my next question for you as well. Do you feel like there was a fight outside of fighting that you had to overcome? Like, I know about the prison and some other significant moments in life. Was there something outside?
There's a lot of life-changing moments for me. One was prison, yeah, like we talked about. The second one was my pilgrimage. I went on a Shikoku pilgrimage. You ever heard of the Shikoku pilgrimage?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
It's a walk through. It's a 300 right here, yeah. So it's a 1,400 kilometer walk to 108 temples to Island of Shikoku. So I went and did that. It's a walk. I think it's 880 miles around the island, and you visit 108 temples.
Where is it, sorry?
In Shikoku. What I did with that was I did it all on foot, and I made restrictions for myself because I wanted to build myself as a person. So I made it one, he had to walk on foot. Two, I could only buy water, and I couldn't buy food. So
How long was the trek?
took me a whole month. So what I did was I brought dry packs, 10 dry packs.
Okay.
And after that, I just relied on donation. They call it osetai, which is, what is that called? Offerings. Yeah. So they give you bread. Some give you water. Yeah. So, yeah. So the Shikoku Pyramid was amazing because in human life, there's three types of suffering. There's mental suffering, there's physical suffering, there's emotional suffering. And even just one at an extreme level can kill you. Physical suffering, you can die from it. People will kill themselves for emotional suffering. Mental suffering, sometimes you can cause suicide too. Yeah. So the crazy thing with the Shikoku pilgrimage is you hit all three at a very extreme level. Physically, there's no explanation. After the third day of walking for 16 hours a day, you're blistering. Your feet are blistering, your legs are cramping. You have to fight that. The emotional sickness, the emotional pain is the loneliness. You don't talk to people. You're almost like being homeless because you're sleeping outside on the street. You're sleeping in front of bus stops, you know. And then you got the mental. The mental is like you walking 3 days, you look on the map and see what you covered. You got this whole island. You got this whole island to go through, and you only walk this far. And mentally, that's breaking. You know, you're like, fuck, I'm cramping, I'm blistering, and I gotta walk this whole table, but I only got this far. You know, so I had to hit all three of that at once, and I had to fight that. And that was an amazing experience for me. Yeah. So it taught me a lot as far as one appreciation of things. Like, you know, bread. Sometimes I'll get bread and not eat it and let it mold and throw it away. When you don't eat for 4 days and someone gives you a bag of bread, fuck, it's like gold.
Yeah.
You know?
How did it taste? You haven't eaten. It's like
good.
amazing, right?
Yeah. So
The
the
bread.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, so even like something like appreciation of things, like when you go into bed at night and you go to sleep, you're pretty much thinking about tomorrow, what time you got to get up tomorrow, or something that pissed you off in the day, or you're going on your phone and looking through social media or something, you know?
Yeah.
When I was on the pilgrimage, after I came back, it gave me an appreciation of my bed, my roof over my head. Because when you're in the pilgrimage and you find a place to sleep, if it rains, you got to move. You got a hard ground to sleep on. So after I got back from the pilgrimage, every night that I got home, a time when people take things for granted, I was having happiness. I'll get into bed and lay in this soft bed, knowing that if it rained, I don't need to move. It felt so good, you know? So it made me aware of these type of things. And I think you know, I believe in life, you got three circles. One circle is the things that piss you off, the things that don't matter, and the things that make you happy. Yeah, I almost feel like the things that don't matter, like a soft bed, cold water, that stuff all went to things that made me happy. Things that pissed me off was waiting in line, rude people. Don't piss me off anymore. Because I'm waiting in line at a pharmacist one day. The Chinese group come in, they start cutting. And for me, before I would be assertive and I would get upset and say, hey, get back to the line. And I'm standing there in line thinking, okay, 3 people just cut. Probably be out another 5 to 10 minutes in my line. But after I buy this drink, I'm buying a cold drink. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive. I don't need to walk. I'm waiting air conditioned. I'm like, fuck, what's another 10 minutes? And it didn't bother me. So, you know, these circles, my circle that irritation got smaller. The circle that didn't matter didn't change. The circle that made me happy got way bigger. So that was one of the big things that changed me in my life with the pilgrimage. Yeah. And of course, I did the walk across Japan, where I walked from Sapporo to Kitakyushu. And that one we didn't buy water or food.
How did you get this idea or this concept?
Don't know. just popped into my head, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I just find ways to strive to be a stronger person. And when I heard about the pilgrimage, I was like, fuck, I'll do that. And then when I thought, oh, a couple hundred people do it a year, I'm like, shit, that's not that special. I'm going to make these restrictions on myself.
Okay.
I added so it's if the famous one is the 88 Shikoku pilgrimage, but I added 10 more. There's a sacred Bangai temple. It adds another 300 kilometers to the walk. So I added that. So I did 108. And I made restrictions of I can't buy food. I can't pay money for lodging. So right there, I thought, okay, now it's a challenge. I bet those 200 people that do it a year never did it like that. So it's one of those things. And like even thinking of walking across Japan, 1,360 miles across Japan from the top to the bottom. That's stupid. You know, that's crazy. And you do it without buying lodging, food, or water. You're just doing it and walking across the whole country. And it's like, yeah, you know, so that type of stuff. I don't know.
That's amazing.
I mean, I don't know what's next.
Yeah. When did you do that?
I did that in 2010.
2010. Okay.
And I did it again 3 years later.
So this is just before the tsunamis that happened with
That's another thing that changed my life.
that's what I was going to ask you about as well. Cause like in 2011 and you've always been involved in philanthropy and, helping others and helping people through suffering, you know, and even like now with like Hawaii with the fires, you've been posting about that and talking about that. So I wanted to ask you, like, how'd you get involved in that? And also like how selfless you were, like going into situations where there's so much radiation that you're potentially being exposed to.
Yeah, I did. I think I did get exposed, but it wasn't something that I felt right away. I got asked, I had friends in Kodiyama, which is Fukushima, that were affected. I just went to visit them. That's all I cared about, my friends. And then when I was up there, some of my friends called and said, can you check on my friends? And when I went up there and I saw the evacuation centers, I decided to go try and buy something for them. And what I did, the happiness I got from giving was extremely, something that I never expected. And I realized, in this day, we're all uniform to believe that the true happiness is happiness of receiving. And, on your birthday, your day, you're supposed to do things that make you happy. And what do? You get presents, right? But what I realized in my lifetime, especially from going up north to do volunteer work, is true happiness is the happiness of giving. And that's what I discovered then. And when I started giving these people, and when I saw this old lady that lost everything, I gave her a pair of shoes. She holds the shoes to her chest, starts crying and thanking me for the shoes. I'm standing there like, holy fuck. I got addicted. I got to do more. I went back, drove into town, filled my Hummer up with shit again. I went back again. I went back and forth for 3 weeks, bringing food and supplies for them. And it just got something that I still do till today.
Yeah. So you're still going down that?
Yes, right now, all the people that were in temporary housing are all put back and we can't find them.
Really?
The only place that I'm in touch with, they're the orphanage. Wow. So I buy shoes for the orphanage every year. So last year we bought 58 shoes for the orphanage. And right now, because of the COVID restriction, we weren't allowed to go into the orphanage. Yeah. So we're sending them now. Yeah. At the end of the year, we're going up and buying. If you go to, if you just go into Encinitas Missions, just look at that on YouTube, it'll pop up. So I go in and help out the orphans.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I think that's something in my life that I found, that from prison, from doing the pilgrimage, appreciation in life, I appreciate a lot more than a normal person. And the other thing that I've learned from, doing the job, the volunteer work I did up north, the true happiness in life is, and I really feel sad for someone who lives life and dies in life, thinking that receiving something is the biggest happiness in life. They weren't experiencing the true happiness in life. It's giving, and receiving is good, but giving is the true happiness.
Wow. Is there anything else that you want to do with your philanthropy? Like, is there anything else you want to continue on your mission in life right now?
Making the parcel bracelets.
Yep.
It's changed into this beautiful bracelets, precious gemstones to healing properties. And we're getting good results of people getting healed by the bracelets, which baffles me, because these are just stones. How can they heal?
Yeah.
And I'm getting, like, my shop in Hawaii now, and even on the site, it's all about healing. And we're getting so much, testimonials coming in from people who, whether it's placebo or what it is, it's working. It's helping people. So that's something that I'm really excited about. Yeah. It's like a hobby turned business. Yeah. And I do that a lot. So every time I go to Hawaii, I open up the shop. Yeah. So
is that where you're going in a couple of days?
Yeah.
You said you're going on the 20th, right?
On the 20th.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I feel like that's my calling, and I think martial arts just helped me have a
base.
Something to. I'm a little higher up on a stool, more visible, more visible to people.
Yeah.
I have a bigger platform now because of fighting. And it's not, I wasn't put on this earth to become a fighter, become a famous fighter, buy a big house and, be super rich. I think the fighting only was a tool to put me into a bigger limelight where I could help people more. Like my bracelets they only have good sales because I'm Encinitas. Because they believe that the spirit of the maker goes into the bracelet. So people come to that to get my Yamatama spirit in the bracelet. And then it starts healing them.
Oh,
so it's like the fighting was just a unreal plus to what I'm actually doing. So my whole thing is about helping people. So I believe everyone's life is a candlelight. And a candle will run out, right?
I will.
So depending on who you are, your candle is long or short. Some people, kids' candle was a shorter candle. And our job in life, or my mission in life, is to light as much candles as I can. You know, some people that give up in life, their candle burns out, but they're not dead yet. And my mission in life is to light as many candles as I can before my candle light burns out, which it will one day. But yeah, that's what I feel. My mission in life is to light as many candles and share my light as much as I can. That's the reason why I also wrote my book, is just to get my word out. It wasn't to sell books. It wasn't to be a bestseller. It was just about to get my word out. I felt that the way I thought, the way I approach things, my life adventures would be something that would help people that read the book. So that's the reason. So my whole thing is about that.
And all that experiences add up, and you have a lot to share. Like there's a reason. It's interesting that you have this, like, like we're talking about the Yamamoto Damashi. Like back then when you're young, you're probably just thinking, oh, it's all about kill or be killed. I want to fight. I want to prove myself. But fast forward, it's like you've got a totally different mission.
Yeah, I mean, if I had my wish when I was younger and died in the ring, I would never have my true mission.
Yeah.
Of helping people.
Yeah.
So I laugh about it nowadays. Yeah, I met Hoist the other day. He's one of the guys that I looked up to, and why I based my willing to die in the ring. He was willing to die in the ring.
Yeah,
too.
he was.
Yeah, it's for me. I remember talking to Hoist and saying, I got my belief from you. And you know what he told me? We were so stupid back then. Yeah. And we started laughing like, holy shit. Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't die in the ring. Me too. Like, oh, we started laughing about it.
Yeah, because you would have missed like 40 years, 50
Yeah,
years of life.
I would have missed my main mission in this world. Yeah. So.
Just finally, I want to ask you about your daily challenge. I know that Egan started something up, and then you were doing like a accountability challenge, like non-negotiable, that they call it.
Yeah. So what happened was, I was getting to this point, 56. I was getting to this point, like, I'm old. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this. And I didn't even try doing stuff. And I came to a point where I couldn't even do 10 push-ups.
What?
I stopped doing push-ups. I stopped doing anything. My shoulder was blown out.
Okay.
I can't do that. I can't do this. Can't do that. I didn't even try to build up to it.
Yeah.
And when I saw Egan's post on that, like, it's something about people, the average life, people die when they're 80, but they actually die when they're 60 because they stop doing shit.
Yeah,
Just
true.
waiting to die.
It's true.
They wait 20 years to die. They already died when they're 60. I'm like, holy shit. He's actually talking about me. I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to do that I was doing. And when it hit me, like, fuck, I'm going to start up. And so my non-negotiables was push-ups, sit-ups, and cardio every day. And he said 20 minutes of aerobic. He said 45 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and lower abs, mid obliques, and upper abs. And when I did it, I couldn't do 20 minutes on the aerobic. I only do 5. I barely could do 10 push-ups, and I only could do like 20 sit-ups.
How long ago was this?
I think about 3 months ago. So now I'm up to 120 push-ups consecutive, 60 sit-ups, and then I do a 20-minute cardio, and I'm doing the ice plunge every day.
Yeah, I've seen every day on Instagram.
Every morning. Every morning, the first thing I get up, I walk down to my ice plunge, jump in. Like, I think it's like, right now it's 39 degrees or 4 degrees Celsius. Go inside for 3 minutes. And that's my start of my day.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think it's kind of like, I saw this concept. I was like, yeah, like I have that as well. Like if I'm doing like boxing or jiu-jitsu or just weights or running, whatever it is, I want to do something every day. I think like movement and doing something.
If you're getting old, then minimize the time.
Yeah.
Or stop certain exercises, but got to keep moving.
You got to keep moving, right?
Yeah.
And finally, my last sort of question is like, do you have any advice for any aspiring fighters who are coming up now? And do you have any like advice for people just who might be a little bit lost in life? Like what can they kind of do to help?
For fighters, I say get a lot of sparring in, a lot of mat time. There's nothing like mat time. And for everybody in life, what you got to remember is no matter how bad your situation is, there's always someone getting it worse than you. Or what I like to tell myself, it could be worse. It could be better, yes, but don't dwell on that. But understand that it could be worse and be happy that it's not worse.
And out of all the experiences, like we talked about, pilgrimage, going to help out the tsunami, prison, fighting, like what is the one that you think that you got the most from in your life?
I don't know. I really can't say. I got so much important things from prison. I would say prison, the adversities I faced in fighting, and the pilgrimage. Yeah. Those are huge. And that I've already done with book 2. It's coming out soon, but the first book covers all my fights. The second book will cover all that. It's deeper.
Okay,
So
that's
it'll
interesting.
be out soon.
Yeah, you need to know. Everyone needs to know the second part. I think everyone knows the first part of your life, but it's important. I really think it's important. Now you
I
told
think
me
it's
about
a
the
much
second
deeper
part.
part.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, well, thank you so much for your
All
time.
right,
Vincent.
right on. Appreciate it.
If you're listening to this, you've reached the end of the episode. And I just want to take the time to thank you and appreciate you for listening to the entire thing. Here at the Mastered Podcast, we're focused on improving and being one of the best podcasts in the game. So what we're asking our listeners is to leave a comment or any other feedback about what you thought was okay, what you thought was good, or what you thought was great. As well as that, if you think there are any other guests we might like to feature on the show, please contact me on Instagram or send me an email. If you like the show, please recommend it to some of your friends and family or anyone else. So, thanks again for listening to the show, and we'll catch you next time.